everybody, Daily Distinction Time. How are you doing today? Glad to have you here on a Thursday. And Sonia's already in here, man. She's saying it's her fifth favorite day of the week. There you go, Thursday. I love it. Thank you, Sonia. Great to have you here today. Thanks, everybody, coming on, and glad that you are a part of what we're doing here on Distinction Nation. Really glad to have you here. And I said Distinction Nation. We're going to be talking about that. But of course, this is Daily Distinction. We've got so much distinction, we don't know what to do with it all. Hey, enjoying the 14-day program? Glad you downloaded that, Brian. I really appreciate that. That is awesome. And Brian, you remind me, I want to remind everybody that if you want that 14-day program that Brian is talking about, it's our program on creating personal distinction, then you need to go to distinctionnation.com, because that program is coming down. It's moving into another area that's behind a paywall. So if you want it, you can still get it, but there's going to be something different going on. You won't be able to get it free. If you'd like to get it free because you participate in Daily Distinction, you need to go to distinctionnation.com, get signed up. You can download the 14-day How to Create Personal Distinction audio program. I hope you enjoy it, Brian. I hope you're liking it. Hey, Scott, great to see you today. Really glad that you're here. Thanks for taking time to be with us. We got a good topic to talk about today. Has there ever been a part in your life where it seemed like the survey was the hardest part of the customer experience? I mean, we need to know what customers and employees think, right? Well, not necessarily. And that's what we're going to talk about today. kind of shocking, right? This is not. I am not leading into like the Steve Jobs discussion where he quoted Henry Ford and said, if I asked customers what they thought, then what they really wanted would be faster horses, right? That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about how do we listen to our employees? How do we listen to our customers? What do we need to do to make certain that the feedback that they give us is on target? Mike, thank you for asking. Tammy is, matter of fact, she's feeling so good. She is in the other room right now cleaning up the house. And I'm like, take it easy. What are you doing? And she said, no, I've been down too long. So she is busting her tail today. I'm just staying out of her way, because when I get in her way, I'm held responsible. Here, mop this. So, hey, Pam, great to see you. Allison, that's good. Yeah, if they ask for the check back, that's kind of feedback, right? It's feedback there. Hey, there's Charles. He is our Distinction Nation captain of Silicon Valley right there. I appreciate it, Charles. Glad to have you here. Hey, before we get into our topic, a couple things to make sure that you know about. And here is the first one. I am excited. We have talked about the program Post-Pandemic Events. If you do anything in terms of events, whether it's for your company or whether you speak to events or whatever you do, what I'm doing is I've put together a course that'll last 6 weeks, and it will be about how do we create more compelling presentations? How do we create better post-pandemic events? One of the things that you may have heard me talk about here before is it's really been fascinating to me as we've gone through this process since the pandemic started, is I'm relying more on what I learned in my many years in the broadcasting business more than what I've learned from my thousands of presentations on a platform, on a stage. And what I'm seeing so much is that we're not thinking right about how we create compelling meetings and how we make compelling presentations. And so the purpose of this course is just until we change the way we think, we're not going to change the way we meet. And we're not going to change the way we present. And so if you want to engage, see, I don't think people are burned out on Zoom. I think they're burned out on boring meetings. I think they're burned out on the boredom of just how they drone on. So what I have here is a format for you to use and a philosophy for you to use. And we'll even talk about the equipment that you should be using and all of that. And it's all a part of Post-Pandemic Events. It is now open for registration. And I didn't even make a little sign for this. Here we go. Yeah, I did. When you go to post-pandemic events, and the website is up, so you can go to post-pandemic events and enter the coupon code DISTINCT50. That's for the viewers of Daily Distinction. So just go to the coupon code DISTINCT50 and you get $50 off. And the program, I mean, for a 6-week program with a lot of video, and you get, by the way, for every session, and this was one of the things talking about listening. This is one of the things that the program's $297, you get $50 off of it. But talk about listening. One of the things that we did to listen is that we found that you wanted not only the video, but we provide the audio track as well. So you can download the audio. So if you want to put it on your iPhone or your Android and listen to it in the car, you can do that. And we also provide transcripts of each session. So you could even print out the transcript or save the PDF like on your Kindle and read the entire program. And there are assignments, and there's worksheets, and there are worksheets that you can keep with you to use as you're planning out your next event. So we're really excited about it, and that code is just for folks that watch Daily Distinction. So it's DISTINCT50 to get you $50 off. So yeah, thank you, Shelly, for putting that up there. There is the website that Shelly's got. If you use Distinct 100, we charge you twice as much, Ken. It doubles. Hey, thanks, Charles. Yes, yeah, exactly. And holy cow, yeah, I got to tell you, yeah, she is. Tammy will joke that she is got a little twinge of OCD in her. That she really wants everything to just be in its place and be perfect. So anyway, so there you go. That's the info about what's going on with post-pandemic events. And if you have anything to do with events, I think you're really going to get a lot out of it. We are so excited about how it's coming together and what it looks like. And Ken Walls, thanks to you in part. That's for showing me how it should be done on the program that you have about live streaming. So this is something we're very excited about. All right, so let's talk about, knowing what customers and employees think, because I think I'm going to surprise you a little bit about where we need to be on this. Now, every entrepreneur, I think, would like to know, what do customers think about us? And every entrepreneur needs to know how engaged your employees are. But are we doing it wrong? In fact, could we be doing it in a way that turns away customers and upsets employees? And I'm going to think for a little bit about that, because I think we are. So when I graduated from Franklin College in Indiana, I was a couple years older than everybody in my senior class because I'd taken 2 years off to travel and be a state and national FFA officer. So I was 23, 24 years old, 24 when I graduated from college. And the college came to me during my last semester and said that they were creating a job. And the job was going to be, get this title, Director of Public Affairs and Annual Fund. Now, that sounds like, to me, after I did it, it sounded to me more like, Director of Sanitation and Food Tastiness. Public affairs meant that I was the public relations officer for the college. Annual fund meant that I was in charge of going out and raising the cash gifts for the college. There's different types of giving, as you might imagine, for the college. I mean, one is foundation giving, like the Lilly Foundation in Indianapolis is the second or third largest foundation in America. And going to foundations asking for gifts. Okay, that wasn't what I did. There's what's called planned giving, where you go to alumni or friends of the college and you get them to leave a portion of their estate in their will to you, or they might give a major gift so that would be named the Jane Doe Hall of Science kind of thing, right? So they're named that was it. My job was to get the cash gifts. And one of the things that made that hard was, you know, very few people want to donate to buy toilet paper for the men's dorm. But that's what you got to spend money on to keep the college running, right? So, but that was my job. So I was both the public relations officer and I was in charge of the cash gifts. And when they hired me, they gave me a job description. Now, I'd always worked at my parents' grocery store or the radio stations in Scottsburg, Indiana, or Seymour, Indiana, or Columbus, Indiana, or Indianapolis, Indiana. And they didn't have job descriptions. I mean, they had on the board or they put in your mailbox when your shift was and what time you're supposed to show up, but there wasn't a printed job description. So this is my first time to see a job description. So I'm reading through the job description and it outlined everything I was supposed to do in terms of public relations. And having been in media, you know, since I was 14 years old, that was something I felt very comfortable with, confident about. And when it came to raising money, that was all in the job description. And because of my work with FFA, helping the foundation for FFA raise money, that was something I knew a little something about. But then at the end of the job description, the last job on there, the description said, and other duties as assigned. Well, you know, I'd never seen a job description before. I didn't think that much about it. So naturally, I signed the job description. I take the job. I'm really excited. And then over the course of the time that I worked there, one of the things I realized was I was putting in a lot of time as the public affairs officer and the annual fund cash raiser, but I was also putting in a heck of a lot of time on these other duties as assigned. And I felt frustrated, right? Because what are these other duties? And what do you expect of me? That's so different from what I signed up for. And so as employees, many times we feel, you know, what's going on here? Ellen, businesses are terrible with job descriptions. They don't benchmark the job with subject matter expertise. Yes, absolutely, Ellen, you are exactly right. And see, that's how I felt too, because it was like, if that's a part of my job and I'm spending so much time on these, hey, would you do this? Hey, would you also do this? Hey, would you? Well, okay, so where are the priorities? I mean, because if my title is this, but I'm spending all my time on these other duties, how am I doing? And I felt like I didn't know what was expected of me. And I left the job because I was very, very frustrated by that. Frustrated also because the person in the year before, you know, raised, I don't know, $200 and some odd $1,000. And I raised almost $700,000 and they gave me a $1,000 raise. So pretty good. That's when I decided higher education wasn't for me, right? The triple would have been done before and they gave you a grand as your salary increase. Anyway, water under the bridge. But it was just like, if I don't know what's expected of me, if getting that kind of result gets that little of return, I've got to figure out something else. And it was the greatest thing that happened because that's how I got into television and it's how I got into speaking because I left that behind. But it struck me how frustrating it was not to know what was expected of me. I recently saw this from the Gallup organization. It said only 40% of employees agree with the statement, I know what's expected of me at work. Look at the inverse of that. That means that 60% of our employees don't know, they don't feel confident that they know what's expected of them. I was part of that 60%. I didn't know really what was expected of me. At the radio jobs I'd had before, and certainly my dad made it clear what was expected of me at the grocery store. I mean, I always knew because there was communication about what was expected with you. I worked and I didn't know really what was expected. So only 40% of employees agree with the statement that they know what's expected of them at work. I mean, you can say 60% of us don't know. Here's the other thing from that same Gallup poll survey. They also agree that when they make suggestions or deliver feedback, get this, action is rarely taken on their ideas. And there you have it, right? We want to know what our customers think. We want to know what our employees think. So if you ask your employees what they think, and they don't think you're doing anything about it, they think it's a waste of their time to respond to the survey or to provide the feedback. Research by Dr. Bruce Fau indicates that surveys requesting inputs and ideas do more harm than good if we don't show how the results are put into practice. If we don't let employees know, now it doesn't mean that we have to do everything they say. And employees don't expect that either. They don't expect us to do everything that they're recommending, but they want to know they've been heard. Customers want to know they've been heard. I stopped filling out surveys. I haven't had a reason to use it lately, but GoGo is the name of the internet service that is on major airlines. Not all of them, but most of them. I fly Delta more than anybody else, and Delta has it, United has it, other airlines have it. And after every single flight, I will get a survey. Please fill out the survey. And they'll ask for recommendations, suggestions. And I've given them some. Let me give you an example. If you're a T-Mobile subscriber, you get so much free time on GoGo, on your internet in the air. But if you subscribe to them, you can't access your free minutes. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why can't I access free minutes? I've got to sign out and then sign back? Couldn't you make it seamless if I'm using the same email? I mean, it's easy. No response. No response. I've complimented them on when they upgraded the service. I complimented on no response. Now, if you don't respond to a compliment and you don't respond to a suggestion, guess what I'm thinking? You don't care. You read in somebody's book, you heard somewhere that you need to send out a survey, so you send out a survey, but you don't pay attention to the results. You got to pay attention to what's happening. Yeah, and then they fail and get bad performance reviews. That's a great point. I don't know what's expected of me. Right? So then when you say, well, you didn't perform as well, what did I do wrong? Well, those other duties is assigned, right? You're exactly right. Hey, Ken, thanks for sharing this. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's really, really cool. Thank you for doing that. And thanks, everybody, for sharing. Sharing is caring, as I've heard Ken say. So thank you so much for sharing. So what does this mean? Well, think about what happens when you let people know that you are listening to them. That's part of what I love about doing this. I mean, you can post a comment right here and we bat the idea around and we talk about it. What happens when you show that you're listening? Well, Aon, it's an insurance and consulting company, showed employees they would take the suggestions and the feedback and the survey results, and they would take that and they would show employees. They constantly deliver to employees, here's some of the ideas that we've received from you. And, oh, great idea. Here's what we're doing. Good idea, but one of the problems is, right? I mean, for example, right now, a lot of us are saying, well, why didn't they let us know? Here in Vegas, for example, hotel employees are saying, well, why didn't they let us know that Bill tested positive? This guy I work with every day, Bill over here, that he tested positive. Well, you can understand why they say that. I work with this guy and now he's tested positive. I could be positive too. Well, what needs to happen is both the casino and the unions that are prevalent here in Vegas, they need to say to the employees, yeah, but that's against the law, right? I mean, it's HIPAA violation. It's patient privacy. Now, maybe, those laws were written not thinking about what would happen in a pandemic. But we can't say, by the way, Bill tested positive, because revealing something that happened to him medically is illegal. But yet what happens is they're constantly saying, well, why didn't they tell us? Why didn't they tell us? And there builds this distrust because the company isn't communicating why that didn't happen. And maybe the reason they're not communicating it's because they aren't listening. So Aon showed employees how their ideas were being implemented. You see the results. Every year since they've started doing this, productivity has improved and turnover is down. And the company has documented they are saving at least $11 million a year just by saying, here's what we're doing and here's how we're listening. It's very, very powerful when people know that you hear them, that you care about what they say. Hey, Colleen, great to see you. Happy Thursday to you too. Appreciate it. So we want to be heard. We want to be listened to. We want you to know, we want to know that you care. But not only that, as a customer, has the survey ever been the worst part of your purchase decision? Was for me when I bought a BMW a few years back. Man, everything was great. I've written about my salesperson at Dreyer and Reinbold, who's not there anymore, and I think the dealership has suffered because of that, but he's retired. But Carl Nielsen's the best salesperson I ever had in my life, and Dreyer and Reinbold did such a fabulous job. And then all of a sudden, I start getting these calls about, could you rate us? And because I was out of the country giving speeches at the time, and I get these I get these voicemails, and the person making the call is like, this is the third call I have made. Well, the fact of the matter is I had my phone off because, he's calling at 3 a.m, the time I was on over where I was giving speeches in the Middle East. So then I get back, and it's like 11 o'clock at night in Indianapolis, and the phone rings, and they're doing the survey, the customer satisfaction survey, 11 p.m. He said, well, your area code's 702. See, when the first time I lived in Vegas, I had a 702 area code, Las Vegas area code number. Then I moved back to Indianapolis. But because my area code was 702, he didn't look at my street address. He didn't look at the address of the dealership and assumed I was on Pacific time, not Eastern time. So he thought he's calling me at 8 o'clock, but it was because he didn't look. And I just said, this sucks. And he said, well, are you satisfied with the experience? I said, I'm satisfied with the experience from the dealership, but I hate this freaking survey. The survey was the worst part of the experience, which is just crazy, just crazy that a survey about the customer experience is the worst part of the experience. Yeah, customer expectation, total perceived benefits the customer expects from the company's product or service. Yeah. And I call that in the book Iconic, I call that the promise. What does the customer perceive they have been promised? Because they always evaluate your performance based upon the promise. Yeah, it's amazing how it works. I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you very much. You bet. Yeah, and Ken, I think people are turned off by them because of just how frustrating it is to do business with them, and because of them. I think you're so right. So what we have to do is to make certain that when we survey our customers, that experience is planned just as much as every other aspect of the customer experience. I know my salesperson, Carl Nielsen, would never have picked up the phone and tried to call me at 11 o'clock at night to talk to me about the car. So why is it okay that the survey about your satisfaction about that transaction took place like that. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I will say, though, before we get out of here today, that surveys often can provide you insight. And that's why not only do we have to do them, but we have to set them up so they contribute to the experience. And then we have to listen to what is being said. I'll give you a quick example. As we were preparing the post-pandemic events program, we did a survey asking people that attended virtual meetings some really important questions. One of those questions was, rank how important that these aspects are to your virtual event, to your experience as an attendee at a virtual event. And one of the really interesting things was networking, which is really important at trade shows and live events. We do everything in meetings we can to get networking. Networking ranked dead last. We're not interested in networking virtually at meetings and events. That's something we want to do in person. So if we're going to a meeting and event, if we see about a virtual event and there's a lot of advertisement about virtual networking, our survey says that doesn't inspire anybody to attend. You know what else didn't? This was really shocking. And it's part of that. This will save organizations thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You know what else doesn't translate to a virtual event? A celebrity speaker. Now, if a celebrity is at a live event and it's someone that I've only seen on my television screen or my computer screen, laptop, tablet, whatever, and now I can see him in person, oh man, that's really cool. That's really cool. And it doesn't matter the level of celebrity, but let's use, somebody I've been on a lot of programs with over the years is Terry Bradshaw, right? So, man, people love to get an autograph from Terry Bradshaw or sit and listen to him tell stories and all that. Just to be there in person. He's the larger-than-life personality. It's really cool. It means nothing for a virtual event. To take somebody that I've seen on my television screen and put them on my computer screen doesn't translate into making me more interested about the event. Yeah, Ken, our pal Glenn's going to be sad to hear that. Now, here's the difference. Glenn can deliver content that transcends whether or not he's a celebrity. That's what I love about Glenn, right? Glenn didn't have to be on 24 or The Resident to be a great insight giver. So that's really important. Yeah, you don't like surveys at night either, Scott, right? So the survey really got us to understand that there were certain aspects of a meeting that once you move that meeting to virtual, it didn't relate. But the structure of meetings has to fundamentally change for the future. And that's what our survey helped us get to. So if you're willing to listen to the input, and then that's why we created a program, is to do something with that information, then it makes all the difference in the world. Yeah, there you go, Shelly. Yeah, Chewy isn't Chewy great? Chewy is just the best. Somebody sent me, I don't have it in front of me. Somebody sent me a post wanting me to include something about Chewy in my next book because they had, unfortunately, their pet had passed away. And they called Chewy because they were on the automatic renewal of the dog food. And sadly, tragically, the dog had passed away. And Chewy sent them a bouquet of flowers. Now, what did that cost Chewy? I don't know, $50, $100. I don't know how big the bouquet was, but but most dog owners are going to get another dog, right? Larry Winget says it best when he says that when we lost our 7-year-old dog to lung cancer, Sasha, Larry Winget said, the best way to get over the passing of your old dog is get a new dog. And Lucy didn't replace Sasha, but Lucy is such a light in our lives. We love our girl, right? And so it's just incredible how these companies respond. And why doesn't every business do that? Why aren't we all doing that? And it gets back to the reason you have a survey is to listen to your employees and to listen to your customers. See, I think where BMW messed up was BMW wasn't doing the survey. They contracted with a company whose job it was to do the surveys. And so the company is being judged on what percentage of new car owners complete the survey, because they have to have a large percentage. So their goal is not to have you have a great experience. Their goal is to make sure you fill out the damn survey. And it's at odds with the very experience that they are evaluating. So what have we talked about today? Some important things, and that is people have to know what's expected of them. And you can't be asking them what they think and then not do anything with that information. Whether that's an employee or whether that's a customer, we've got to engage them. And when we engage them, great things happen. That's the big message of today. Hey, by the way, when you sign up for our post-pandemic events course, just enter the code DISTINCT50, gets you $50 off. That's just for folks that view the program. Hey, I can't get out of here without reminding you about the Ultimate Business Summit, August 13th and 14th. And there's a code for that one too. Gets you $100 off. So that's the customary registration for UBS, but you add the code. It's only $97 for general admission. VIP seats for only $397. Go to ultimatebusinesssummit.com. Hey, I hope you'll take advantage of post-pandemic events. It just launched this morning. Thank you, Shelley. Just launched this morning. And we're only going to it's only going to be open for about a week because it's a 6-week course. It's planned. So if you have interest, please sign up and please start on it right now. That'd be great. Thanks, everybody, for watching today. I'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow on our next Daily Distinction. Thanks so much for being here. See you tomorrow.